Welcome to the Untrapped podcast, where we give motivational and inspirational tips about life, small business, wisdom,
health, wealth, finance, relationships.
It's about being the best you that you can possibly be. Hashtag Untrapped. Welcome to the Untrapped podcast. I am your host, Keith Kelfus.
Founder of LawnGuru, took a lawn care company in college up to $2.5 million a year and had this amazing idea to build an app called LawnGuru. And we got to talk to this guy right now. All right, tell us your story, man.
You want me to start back from college?
Yep.
Yeah, so in college, we just really realized how fragmented the industry was. There's 20,000 companies in Michigan alone, over 700,000 national. Average business is only doing about 100,000 gross, which, turns an operating margin of, close to 50,000, which isn't great. It's a tough industry to live in, tough to grow. It's very cutthroat. And we realized, based on how fragmented it was, that there was huge opportunity to help these guys out. So we started trying to make a franchise model, 1-800-LawnGuru.com, which we wanted to basically build out systems for everything that anyone in the lawn care space uses every single day, from routing to customer acquisition to bidding jobs to invoicing. And we wanted to franchise this. We wanted to control the marketing channels. There's no national player for residential lawn mowing, at least not at that time. There still isn't. But we thought we could build out, our marketing channels. We could get a lot of business for these guys. So we set down that path, built out client portals, started really trying to grow that. And then, in 2014, with a lot of the growth of new mobile platforms, we changed directions and kind of pivoted into the idea of the LawnGuru app. And the goal was, it's really easy to consumer face something, to make an easy way for customers to order a service. But the biggest thing that we wanted to solve was the problems that providers face. So we wanted to give them something that allowed them to build better route density, completely free to them as well. It's not, you don't pay for leads or anything. Just take jobs if they work in their schedule and accept them, and then get paid upon completion. A lot of guys are negative cash flow all year. They're constantly chasing money. They could have like $200 in the bank and $10,000 in receivables. And that's, literally the life that I lived cutting grass. And you are just always out money. And, we created this platform. We launched May 11th. In our beta market in southeastern Michigan, servicing like 12 zip codes around the Novi area. And it started kind of taking off from there.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that's, the gist of it. We created a pricing algorithm that allows customers to map out their property. I took a lot, I spent in the years when we were developing, the franchise model, we collected data for tens of thousands of transactions that were all priced based on a standardized metric. And we really spent a lot of time testing it to see what customers can pay. And most guys, when you call them for a quote, they're going to schedule a time to come out to your house, and then they're going to walk around and take a look at a property and then say, this is $25. They're not really giving a number based on anything. They're just trying to see what they think they can charge for it. They're not doing any sort of analysis on really how long something will take them. And if they were, then that's nothing they shouldn't be able to do, over the phone with a satellite image.
Exactly.
And so, we really found that by standardized pricing and being able to say to a customer, your lawn's 8,257 square feet, that's $35.67. Customers are much more apt to purchase something when they can see transparent pricing and know that their lawn at 8,500 square feet is going to cost more than their friend's lawn at 6,500 square feet. And when you can support the pricing by data, people are much less willing to price shop. So we had this, and we were growing our company by doing it. And we were selling over the phone, and we were booking customers every single day. And the platform, the LawnGuru app, allowed us to start giving our providers, the same resources and the same growth that we are using internally.
That's awesome.
Which was, pretty cool. And, we're helping a lot of guys with their cash flow. We're getting them more jobs. We have providers right now that are making, $3,000 a week on LawnGuru, and they're getting paid instantly. They're not waiting for money. They're picking up jobs. They're picking up weekly jobs. So their jobs are in their queue every single week to go do.
Now, is there a payment integration in the app?
Yeah, the integration we use is called Stripe. It's the same payment
I use
processing.
Stripe. Yep. Stripe is awesome.
Yeah,
you have so much control over it.
Yeah, so we actually use Stripe Connect, which means the transactions goes directly to our providers. Like, we don't middleman it. We essentially do middleman it, but as far as the money goes, it never touches our hands. It never touches any of our accounts. And that gives us the ability to pay quickly. The payment goes directly from the consumer to the provider, so it clears their account no later than 48 hours. The money's there for the provider to do whatever they want. The biggest thing that I hated about cutting grass was I would work a 60, 80-hour week, and I would go through this whole week, work my ass off, and I would have significantly less money in my bank account at the end of the week than at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what the hell? Like, I don't even have any money to take my girlfriend out to dinner.
I don't go in the green until June. So all April and May, I'm just running, man, to make it all happen.
Dude, it's awful. I'm a finance major, so I got my degree in finance from Michigan State.
Cool.
I've done tons of cash flow analysis on it. Like, your average lawn care company, lawn care is a great profit margin. You should be able to make 50% on any lawn that you do. So if you cut a $30 lawn, your profit should be $15 per time, after fuel, after labor, after all that stuff. And that's a good profit margin. Most businesses don't have 50% margins like that. The problem is and this is why guys have to do all this supplemental business with mulching and all this other stuff that, shrub trimming and pulling weeds to support that. Because if you're running off of lawn care and lawn care alone, you will be negative cash flow until like September. Lawn care standing alone. So if you cut $2,000 a week, it costs you $1,000 per week to do. So if you mow the whole month of, let's say May, 4 weeks, you're negative $4,000 by the time you send out $8,000 of invoicing. Well, now it takes you another 30 days to collect. So you have to go another $4,000. And that's before, insurance payments, phone payments, truck payments, if you have them, any equipment. So you're negative money forever. And it's like, as soon as it comes in, it goes out. By the end of June, you receive that $8,000 from May, based on, a $2,000 weekly, revenue. Now you have your net is zero as far as cash flow goes, but now you had 2 months of phone bills. You've had 2 months of insurance payments. Mm-hmm. And even if everything's cash, like, those are your negative, you're negative $500 at least.
I really learned the hard way in that, to dip into that real quick. Now I make sure I have about 2 months of income set aside specifically for getting out of the hole in the spring, because it's kind of cool at the end of the season. You got this big tidal wave of money still coming in, paying off stuff and, paying off taxes, but that money also gets set aside for the next season. It's really
great. It is great. The problem is it makes it hard to grow, and growth becomes so difficult because you need that money in the spring to be able to grow your business and advertise. And, when you don't have
You're absolutely right.
To print out flyers to advertise or do any sort of online marketing, it's just you're in a chokehold where your business cannot grow. You finally have money in, August or September, But that money, you needed it in February, March, April when all the lawn customers were coming. And it's just tough.
You know, you're right. I actually have to wait. Just now I'm turning on my marketing systems, companies that I hire for marketing, and I keep them on dormant until I know the money is there, so I'm not dipping into savings to pay for it. It's interesting to hear you financially, like in an analyzed type of way, speak about all this. But you could see all this clearly, and you obviously sound very passionate about finance.
I've lived it.
But a lot of guys live it and they can't see it. Like it's completely hiding in its own tracks. It's very not deceptive, but I could hear someone talking in the background. Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's one of our salesmen.
It's like you're going through it. It's kind of like Neo in the Matrix, but you can't see it because you don't have the fucking time, pardon my French, to actually get on a whiteboard and draw all this out or look at like a vital stats dashboard of it. So a lot of people are just running with their head in the sand, and I did that, and just really like over the last year and a half, I've really taken time to start, and not even as much as I should, to look at this stuff, but is this how you actually start devising the LawnGuru app, and how, like, you saw something so clearly and you saw a need in the market? Or you built all this out for yourself?
So after we realized that, we started building techniques and small platforms to help that we could ultimately product and use for, like, as a franchise model. So franchisee signs up, and we were getting ready to beta this and bring on guys for free and say, here, use our system. This is how we're boarding customers. This is how we're advertising. This is how we're billing. This is how we're managing our accounting. And this is how we're doing everything. And we want to see how this impacts your business. And then we pivoted and turned into the app. But, when we were building out these systems, we saw our growth really skyrocket. We saw positive cash flow. We saw, we had this image that people thought we were a national company. 1-800-LawnGuru.com, people thought we were just a franchisee, and that's really how we portrayed it. And we had pretty much no price resistance. We had every customer paying on a credit card. So they were paying upon completion. And we were like, wow, this is really, really helping us. And there's all these other guys that I know in the space that are struggling. How can we package this much quicker to let them see the benefit of it and help them out? But yeah, it was something that, through college, through everything that we were doing and growing my own company, I realized was completely apparent. It was needed. When you see a lot of guys that are out there cutting grass and they, don't have money to fix a hydraulic pump on their machine, and they're cutting a couple $1,000s per week, you see guys that have trouble making payroll, there's a problem. And, it became really apparent. And the more and more research we did, the more I saw that it was needed.
Okay. So if a guy is, he's out there cutting grass right now, he's listening to this podcast on his headphones, and he's like, what is LawnGuru again? How do I get set up? How do I get started on this thing? Can you put it all in a nutshell, and then where he needs to go to learn more about it?
LawnGuru.co, which is .co, not .com, LawnGuru.co/providers. There's a ton of information on there about payment, about getting more jobs. It's completely free. We're bringing people leads for free, and they can, if they fit into their schedule, take them. If they don't take them. Someone else that they might fit into their schedule. We set them up with a provider app that allows them to view more jobs. They just have to fill out the quick form on LawnGuru.co/providers, and then we'll get back with them. We're only live right now in all of the Metro Detroit area, so southeast of Michigan. We're getting ready to launch in Atlanta and in Chicago Metro. The reason for that, though, is because we want to be able to bring business to our providers. We could go national with it, but if we did that, we would not be able to bring the demand that we feel our provider base needs. We don't want people getting on the app and only getting a job a week. We want guys that can come on and get 30, 40, 50 jobs added into their route. We have providers right now that do have 100 plus jobs per week, every single week. We've doubled people's businesses. We've made it so certain providers can quit their second jobs And yeah, the first step is LawnGuru.co/providers. There's a little form on there, just a contact form, so we know to get in touch with them. But we're looking to bring on about 200 to 300 more in southeastern Michigan right now.
You're the way you talk, you remind me a little bit of Stuart Wall. You know who that is, the founder of Signpost?
I am not familiar who that is. No.
He's just an awesome entrepreneur, marketing guy. So what is LawnGuru? Instantly connects outdoor service providers with local lawn care customers. Service requests are made easily through our smartphone app. Once the job's complete, the customer's credit card is securely charged from within the app. Funds are safely deposited into the provider's account with 1 to 2 days. It really is that simple. This is really nice.
Here's the biggest difference too. Now we have a couple competitors that are coming out there emerging. We build density, so we built this platform for providers. We're not going to send you a lead that's 40 miles away. We don't want you to drive 5 miles to do a $30 lawn. We want to bring you stuff that's right there. That's why we invest so heavily into each of our markets. We have planned hyper-localized growth that we're not going national right now. We're focusing on one market to the next market to make sure that we can build density, because we want our providers to be able to, we want to hit critical mass with our users, be able to funnel all this business to providers and have them make profit.
Where are all the leads coming from? Are you backboning this off of SEO?
Tons, man. We've been on every major news network in the Metro Detroit area. We've been in the Free Press. We have a built-in referral code system. We're bringing a level of sexiness to the lawn care industry that doesn't exist. People download the app, mark out their property, they get an instant price, and they hit a request button. That's a good buying experience. That buying experience is something that's catchy, it's attractive, and it's something that they'll tell their friends about. Now, they might not tell their friends about Danny, the lawn care neighborhood guy that does a great job, but they're going to tell people about this cool experience they had with the app where they clicked a button and someone showed up to cut their lawn. They booked weekly service. They have a great provider. They're able to rate their service after each experience on a 5-star scale. That's something that is contagious and they tell people about. So we're getting tons of referrals. We're getting tons of media. We won Accelerate Michigan Best Consumer Product, which was a $25,000 prize. We won that in November. So we're getting tons of press and tons of free publicity. We also do a ton of AdWords. We do Facebook. And even down to mailers too. So we do the same type of advertising that any lawn care company would do, but put that on steroids, and that's what we do.
Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. The biggest thing though is there's a lot of guys that are really hesitant. They feel like it's another company that's trying to take advantage of, make money off of the lawn care guys. And that's really not what it is though.
It's helped the lawn care guys make money and get a couple bucks kickback. Like Ray Kroc, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's about, our providers on average are making more per job than they would on their own going to bid this property, because these customers are booking a service for a price. This pricing is meant to not take money out of the pocket of providers. We charge our customers a premium for using it and for convenience, and that's where we make our money, on a convenience charge. We're trying to make it so providers and customers are willing to pay more when you can provide them with price justification. They can highlight their property. They can say, oh, well, I guess my property is this size. Yeah, that price makes sense for that. And it's not like, I'm going to call 10 companies and get a bunch of pricing and everyone's going to come in somewhere between 25 and 35 bucks and I'm going to go with the lowest guy. These are jobs that come through that are ready to be serviced. We have their card on file. It's already been authorized. We already know there's funds available, and they're going to get paid for it. We built the platform from the mindset of lawn care service providers, because that's what I did for 15 years. And I lived that life, and I knew how much of a struggle it was to get ahead and to actually grow. And so it's made to help them. It's not made to take away from them.
Yeah, exactly. I understand that too. And you just reminded me of some of these other marketing companies that call your phone off the hook, promising to get you to page one of Google, and they'll even call you now and they'll be like, hey, we got several people in your city right now that need lawn care. All we got to do is hook you up with them for $500 a month. And
Yeah,
I know that stuff. Does it work? Yes. Are they just trying to get more accounts and more accounts and more sales? Yes. Will they tell you anything just to get you to sign up, even if it's not the best thing for you? Maybe. And I see here that you're narrowing specifically down on lawn care, which is really cool, and it speaks trust.
Yeah, I mean, it's focused on lawn care. That's the space we know, and that's what we're trying to make, a better environment and better landscape, no pun intended, for everyone that's in the space.
Oh, this is cool. I'm looking right now, www.lawncareguru.co, and it says, mark your lawn, request a cut. It's like a little cutting blades, and it says relax.
Yeah.
Then relax.
Yeah, it's super easy, man. I mean, the users are eating it up. I mean, there's really no better way. If you think about the majority of lawn care companies, the number that they list as their cell phone, that doesn't get answered generally when they're out cutting. It's a headache. I had an experience, like 2 years ago. I was trying to find a subcontractor for concrete, called like 10 companies, left a message for 10, got one call back like
for concrete
like a week later. Yeah.
Same here, dude. We're trimming up a tree. Another problem, we had some concrete that needed to be fixed, and I was calling companies that seemed totally legitimate. Trucks lettered, very clean trucks, never even got back with me, never showed up for the quote. Called them, couldn't get a hold of anybody after days and days. I mean, that was frustrating.
That's what consumers face. That's like when they try to get someone to cut their lawn, that's what the majority of consumers face. And it sucks. It's a headache. I mean, there's a lot of guys, it's not their fault though. People can't afford to have an office with a secretary.
Yeah.
People can't afford to have their phones always answered, and like they just can't do it. I mean, and at night, how they can, maybe they can go and they can, call people back or send emails back from their Gmail account or whatever. But half the time they have broken equipment. They got a trailer that's broken. They got to re-weld it. They have lights going out on the trailer. They have a whipper that needs a carb change. Like they need all this stuff, so they're up till 11 o'clock or midnight or later fixing their equipment.
Yep. Last night I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning, and the night before last night I slept under my office desk, and I didn't leave the office till past midnight. The night before, I think I got home early. I was home by midnight.
And that's early, man. And are you married or do you have a girlfriend?
No, I'm married. Yep. And then
so you're married and you work all night, and a lot of people who do the same thing as you, their significant other sees their spouse or whatever working till midnight, till 3 a.m. The weekend comes around, it's like, hey, can we go out to dinner? Can we see a movie? And it's like, fuck, I got $5 in my account. It doesn't add up.
I remember my first couple years in business, my wife, she's like, do you got a secret kid I don't know about or something? Because we were coming home to eviction notices, and I was trying to grow this landscaping thing, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, working 90 hours a week with no money. I mean, it was a lot of stress. That's really my message with my YouTube stuff, is telling guys that, hey, man, you're not stupid, you're not retarded, this is normal. You just literally have been surrounded by 9-to-5ers your whole life, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But I've actually, how I've balanced it out somewhat is I've actually cut out all the fat and bullshit out of my life and cut out people I love, family members. And I mean, it's me, my wife, my family, my business. And I spend that time with her versus maybe even going and seeing a relative I haven't seen in a long time. I skip family. So
yeah, I mean, those are all sacrifices that small business or any business owner has to make. And I've watched your YouTube videos, and a lot of the stuff that you said, it's like, wow, this guy is speaking my language. Like, I need to talk to this dude. Aside from that, you're in Michigan too, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in like the Novi area, South Lyon actually, Nobody usually knew where that was, but it's just west of Novi. And Michigan State Spartan. Our office now is in Ann Arbor, right downtown. But yeah, I'm a Michigan dude too. I saw you were Michigan, and everything that you talked about was like, wow, this dude's. And then seeing what the responses you got from people that like you're helping a lot of these guys out, man. And it's nice to see. And I see, a lot of these forums online, half the time is spent guys bashing other guys when someone asks a question about pricing or someone making fun of someone for their equipment. And everyone's just, it's a mean environment, man. It's like so ego driven. And it's like, dude, calm down. Like, go, like, you don't need to prove yourself over Facebook by putting someone else down. Like, help people
I mean,
out.
the way I see it, even if you did have the nicest equipment and you had a multi-million-dollar company and you live in a huge house, I mean, what does that give you the right to judge anybody for anything, I believe people do the best they can with what they know at the time, and everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants to be significant. And, I mean, that's really the name of the game.
I mean, it's so true. And it doesn't matter how much someone's done. Like, half the guys that are usually... And through the winter I spent like 4 or 5 months in California, and that's where we were raising our seed round for LawnGuru. We were right in Silicon Valley. And I spent a lot of time kind of just looking more into these forums and trying to offer help when I could, and I saw a lot of mean shit out there. Like people just being assholes, and I'm like, wow, I see someone ask a question and I try to answer it and offer what help I can. I stopped doing it after I started getting people being assholes to me when I'm probably, grew a much bigger company than they did. I know a lot about it, and they're trying to tell me I don't know anything that I'm talking about, and they don't even know me, and I'm out there trying to help someone. And
right.
It's stupid.
One of the biggest blessings in my life was to be able to run a crew and do general operations manager at the age of 18 of a lawn care company, and hiring and firing and fixing equipment, dealing with all the accounts and all that. But it was to work for a huge company, one of the biggest companies in Michigan I worked for. I was a foreman for a couple of years before I started my business, and to see how a large company actually operates really, it humbled me, so to speak. It made me realize that I was a kid who didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. And now when I kind of see other guys bragging or posting all over Facebook, thinking they're the shit, and they've never even, I shouldn't even go down this path. It's just, I've been very humbled, and I'm very thankful for it. And it sounds like you have too. And now you're going on this path where you're going to help tons of people. I mean, it is, I know people say this a lot, it's 2016. We're in the information technology revolution. We got 3 billion more people getting on the internet. I mean, this thing is exploding, and it sounds like you can see it crystal clear.
Yeah, man, and that's exactly what it is. Just to note on something, you mentioned being very humbled. I graduated college. I paid my tuition in cash from cutting grass, me personally on the lawnmower with 3 other dudes. Through college, always had, for a college kid, I had walking around money. I bought my first car the day I turned 15. I had it sitting there for a year. I was always fine. Granted, at that time, my mom paid my gas money. She drove me around to cut grass. But right out of college, 21 years old, ready to grow, had some money in the bank, tried to buy out one of my first companies, one of the small acquisition, $40,000 robbed. Everything was fraudulent. Everything was fake. Fake vehicle titles, everything. So at 21, graduated from college, trying to grow a lawn care company. I had to go back to zero, to the point where I applied to a job at McDonald's. That one day I had negative $500 in my bank account and about $2,000 in automatic payments about to come out the next day.
Yes.
And I applied for a job at McDonald's.
I've been there.
Yeah, man, it sucks. And the only thing that stopped me, this was one of the most influential things that happened to me, but I got a call the day before I was supposed to start at McDonald's. and I got a job selling sunrooms for a company in Clinton Township called Timo. They're a manufacturer of sunrooms. And that actually taught me how to sell. And that was actually probably the best thing that happened to me.
That's some key stuff, man.
Yeah, dude, very, very humbling when, you know, everyone out of college, I mean, I look at my friends and they got these cushy $50,000 a year jobs. They're going on vacations. They're buying houses. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I'm sleeping on my mom's couch. Sucks. And, so when you go from that to, like, trying to rebuild that, like, it's a school of hard knocks. And that's really all it is. You just got to learn from doing.
Absolutely, man. A lot of times, a lot of frustration, I like the saying you have to have a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. Yeah. So I'm sure that you spent several nights with bags under your eyes and feeling like you're in the vortex and to see these things through. And it seems like you're doing it. So lawncareguru.co.
Just LawnGuru.
I'm sorry. I jumped out of the website. I apologize.
No problem.
LawnGuru.co. And is it a mobile app too, or that you can install?
Yeah. So if you have an iPhone, you can download. You can just search LawnGuru in the App Store. We do have an Android app for providers, but that is invite only. So anyone that's operating on Android as a provider, we can get them the app. They have to go through our process and, you know, get their due diligence checked, and then we can get them the platform.
Sweet.
So it's awesome. Super easy. I mean, it's pretty kick-ass. We're doing hundreds and hundreds every single day, lawns. So we're trying to get this to about 10,000 weekly lawns within the next few months.
I believe it.
Yeah. It could be cool. But yeah, I mean, we just want, like I said, you don't have to pay for leads. This isn't like Home Advisor. This isn't like Thumbtack, which I know the CEO of Thumbtack pretty well. I've had lunch with him 3 or 4 times when I was in Silicon Valley. All great platforms, but guys cannot pay for leads and risk not getting the job. It sucks. And that's what those companies do. Sure, they work great and people can land a decent amount of them if they can call and follow through, but
it's that
a lot of guys can't.
They haven't been in the shoes of the actual service company, small business owner, like walk a day in their shoes to really see what they're going through with being in a cash flow shortage. So things like that, man, I'm paying 22, 17, whatever, $30 a lead. And then you got to stay on top of it and monitor it in real time while you're trying to drive and all that stuff. It's it can get kind of like it's too much. Like the cost benefit, you know, the reward, it isn't there unless you're really committed and on top of it. And that is the same with anything. But it sounds like what you're doing is more convenient.
Definitely more convenient. Definitely brings for sure business, and it definitely brings money right to your bank account.
Okay, I know I signed up, and they're going to give me a call. I went on the website, and so I put on all my information, my email, and my phone number, so I should be expecting a call.
Yeah, so we'll actually communicate through text to you, and I'll actually probably be texting you. I'll help you out with this and get you set up and get you to see the, provider side on your phone. Do you have an iPhone or Android, Keith?
Android.
Sweet. So, we can get the Android version of the app on your phone, get you to check it out, and get you set up. Like I said, I mean, you're in Sterling Heights area. We get requests all through there. We get a ton in Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, Warren, Troy, all over the place. Like I said, we're doing a couple hundred per day. A lot of them, you'll see jobs that you can keep every single week, which is sweet. Because you're getting instant payment from those.
Now, is it specifically just lawn care? Because my second year in the business, I dropped all my lawns. I did lawns my whole life, man. I got sick of it. And I would like to pick it back up with getting commercial accounts and just have guys do it, but not me. I'm just don't want to cut any grass. I'm actually trying to peel myself out of the field right now and just do sales and run the business from the top. But I swapped grass out for window cleaning, so I still want to talk to you guys.
Yeah, that's actually, so right now we're building out, there's about 10 additional verticals that we're going to be adding to the platform that can all be, like, essentially what we're looking for is non-subjective services that can be quantified. So stuff like, for example, leaf cleanup is very, very tough to do, and I'll tell you why. It's super subjective, so you can get 95% of the leaves in 20% of the time, right? But it's going to take you an extra, like, 80% of the time to go through every single bush.
Dude, I've never heard anybody talk about it like you. You're fucking hitting the nail on the head because you're talking about it in, like, logistical terms. You're not saying it in an emotional way. You're talking like, this is fact, this is the 80-20 rule, this is the percentage. And I see that happen all the time and everything.
Yeah,
please keep talking.
With all right, so leaf cleanup. The same, what I just said, you might have all your customers that say, all right, great, good job. You know, they got 95% of the leaves. It's great. You're going to have some of those customers come home and say, I still see a leaf. I still see 10 leaves. I don't want to pay for it. You know, this is unsatisfactory. And you'll have that. And that's why it's so hard. It's a subjective service. The same thing with shrub trimming. Like, are you going to have the customer that you go and you trim their hedges and you clean up all, you know, pretty much all of the clippings and they're happy with it? Or is it someone that wants you to get on your hands and knees and pick up every last little piece out of their mulch? It's subjective. And to go through that to get every little bit, which most people are fine with you not doing, to get every little bit's going to take 80% of the time. You can't be in and out. It's tough. And that's the problem that a lot of guys have with bidding stuff.
Absolutely.
It's not transparent pricing, and they don't know what the customers to expect.
And any of the employees or workers have to learn the different client expectations on every single different property, and then there's notes, and then this one's like an A+ job, this one's a silver job, or this one's going to be a C job. Why? Because the customer wants in and out fast, and they don't want to pay for it. It's time is everything.
Well, what we started doing is charging labor rate, billing hourly. The customer wants something done, you know, we're on the customer's clock. So if they want that every little bit picked up, it's on their clock, they're paying for it.
So you're selling time, billable hours.
We're selling time. Anything that's not, and this is honestly the biggest tip that I can give for anyone. If it is a pure labor rate, if there's no products furnished at all, it's a pure labor rate job. Now you have tons of places that, you know, a mechanic's $88 to $95 an hour for a lawnmower. Even more for like diesel techs and all that stuff. You're not furnishing any products. So anything that's shrub trimming, pulling weeds, leaf cleanup, gutter cleanup, trimming trees, anything like that where you're just supplying bodies to do work should always just be a labor rate. Should have at least $45 per man hour. And you should charge a minimum price. Our minimum price was $225, which was a crew of like 5 people for 1 hour minimum. And you have to have a labor rate. If not, you can get taken advantage of by customers. I mean, it makes people really think. And we saw a lot of people saying, well, I don't want to spend more than $500, so I guess do what you can do in, 2 hours. And, we sold a lot like that.
That's huge.
It's way better than going to a job, looking at it, saying, "Oh, this it's going to be $250 to clean up your leaves," just because you don't feel comfortable saying $500 when you know it's going to take you 5 hours to do, and then you get there and you do all this work and you make no money.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sucks. You're trading dollars.
I'm going to be vulnerable here real quick and ask. You. So what about a customer you do a landscape install for $3, $4, $5,000 or something?
Yeah.
Or you do some big cleanup for $1,000, right? But then they call you back and they want you to do something for $85 or $125, and you feel like you're on the hook with that customer, and like maybe, you owe them loyalty, or you got to come back. Like, we got this customer who wants us to spruce up his beds and put down 2 yards of mulch. I mean, we'll be in and out in a couple hours, but I'm not going to make anything off this. And we're doing it later on this week. I'm actually losing customers because
that's completely subjective, man. Like, I have customers that I had since high school, and like there's a lot of them like I will personally take care of, like, and I'll make sure they're good. And I have guys that sometimes don't get charged, but that's a handful of maybe no more than 5 customers. The rest of them, when we sell a proposal for landscaping, I tell them, like, they might decide to take something out to save money. And I tell them, like, if you add this back in after the fact, it's going to cost you this price minimum because I have to now bring a crew all the way back here to do it.
Exactly.
So, like, you have.
And I'll tell them, hey, that might be $200 right now. So if you decide to do that later, it's going to be $350 because.
Yeah. I mean, the rule of thumb that we used was, we charged for a crew of 5 guys. I think we charged $300 for the first hour, like $300 minimum, and $225 an hour after that. And we had a minimum price for 1 hour. We closed about, I'd say 80% of jobs over the phone without ever showing up to give an estimate. Close them, credit card on file, guys have a time clock, how long they're out on the job, charge the card immediately. And
you close them because your level of over communication, confidence you communicate the presence of a professional company just by the way you talk and by the way your posture over the phone, right? People can feel it.
People, when you have to legitimize the cost, you have to legitimize the price that of what you're asking them. I mean, if they ask you what's included, you have to be able to fire that off immediately. If they ask you why, and they say, and we hear all the time, like, why are you this much? There's someone that's advertising for $20 for a cut. And it doesn't matter. Like, people will always 100% of the time buy value. The same thing. If someone goes shopping for a coupe car, well, a coupe can be a 2-door Jetta or it could be a Lamborghini. There's one, it's all about value. And people aren't always looking. What we found is people will always buy value 9 out of 10 times.
It's true. If I hired someone to come to my house and sand my hardwood floors or something like that, I definitely don't want the cheapest guy.
No, but a lot of people have it stuck in their mind that they have to be the cheapest guy. They feel they have to be the cheapest guy or no one's going to go with them.
So, one more quick thing, because, I'm always just going to try to extract a little bit of coaching for my listeners because they love it and they eat it up, because it's like you don't hear people talking about this at family events or barbecues or at the bar. What I mean is, so how do you take that model and then what is the mindset or the emotional intelligence level to now start expanding that model so the guy can get out of the field and actually expand his business without pulling his hair out?
So that's a really tough thing to do. Ultimately, it's taking that leap. And you have to be really selfless. Like, you have to hire people to do a job. You have to pay them a good salary. And what that means is there's going to be a period of time when you can't take a paycheck. Like, you have to, in order to sustain, you just have to make that jump, do it knowing that you're going to make less money because now you're paying someone to do a role that you used to do. And eventually you will grow past that. When I hired for my company Ventures, the first hire that I made was a landscape designer who's, if you look at my Facebook and see some of the designs, I've never seen designs the way that we do. I gave him a salary, which was more than I could afford, and I was working a second job to be able to pay his salary.
Wow.
You have to make that leap, and you have to bring in talent. Now, here's the biggest thing that I could say. Buying equipment is just a depreciating asset. That's all that it is. It's all that it is. You buy trucks, people don't depreciate, people get better. Invest your money into talented employees, and then they'll be able to provide you with the money to buy more trucks and dump trucks and skid steers and mowers and all that stuff. But if you buy the equipment first, Now you have all the equipment that you're showing off to your buddies who are in the same industry, but that doesn't mean anything because you still don't have any value that you can provide. People provide value, equipment doesn't bring any value. But you have to make that jump. Like, you got to make that jump, and you got to just do it. You got to hire the guys. I made, when I was cutting grass, I made a leap. I hired my brother and another guy, Justin Booth, who's actually my top sales guy for Ventures now, to cut grass. I had 2 guys cutting grass. Realized really quickly that my pricing was not good. I was about 21 at the time. Realized that all my pricing, it seemed good, but when you actually add employees doing the work, it's not so great. So ultimately, I was working another job at the same time too. I was doing selling the sunrooms and basically giving them all of the money to work. When you're the boss, like, you're the last person that gets paid.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have that mindset and be willing to do that in order to grow. You never take that leap, and you always stay a one-man show, owner-operator, and you complain about, the biggest complaint everyone has is finding good help. They always say finding good help. Can't find any good help. The truth of the matter is, like, I didn't have a guy that made under $15 an hour. And I have guys that make, $50,000 plus a year. And you have to pay that. You have to pay for talent. People have no problem buying a truck for $50,000, but they think it's crazy to hire someone for $50,000 a year. That employee can bring you so much more than a truck will. You just got to find good guys.
The peace of
They're
mind.
out there. The peace of mind is huge. It's huge.
Wow. I'm learning so much myself about paying for things that are faster, more efficient, more convenient, paying more money to people that can provide better value, more value, things like that. Because it's scary. It feels like you're holding on selfishly and afraid. But when you just pull the trigger and frickin' do it, you're like, oh my God, now I can get from point A to point B faster many more times and quantify it. What do you do during the day? Do you have a ritual every day or once a week or something where you sit in front of the computer, or a meditation or something you do so you can see it all in one snapshot? How are you so comfortable with so much uncertainty?
I'm just used to it, man. You never know something until you just try it. There's stuff that I learn every single day. And every time you think you know something, a curveball comes up. And, you mess up every single day, and you learn more from your errors than you do getting it right. Don't have any sort of rituals. Try to go to the gym every single day to at least clear my head for a little bit. I don't take my phone with me into the gym because then I won't get any calls or people interrupting me. That's about it.
Dude,
we're in high gear right now, though, so it's really, really tough.
All right, yeah, actually, I'm sitting here in my truck about to run into a restaurant and go do a couple quotes myself. So, the name of your website again, and tell everybody to sign up. Where can they find you?
Yeah, www.LawnGuru.co. That's .co/providers.
And your full name again, everybody?
Brandon Bertrang. Hit me up on Facebook. You can add me. I'm friendly.
How does everybody spell your last name so they could find you?
Bertrang.
Bertrang.
Yep.
Brandon Bertrang.
Yes, sir.
On Facebook, look him up. Go to www.LawnGuru.co. Sign up. Check it out. Man, thanks for the awesome information. Do you got any other websites or any other ways?
You guys want to learn about design build stuff? Other sites, www.ventures-design.com. Build some sweet stuff. Definitely willing to help anyone learn about bridging that gap from being a lawn care dude to a landscape construction guy, which is another thing I know people are always trying to do.
Yes.
So I've done it all.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Over and out.
See ya.